kind of look like little fishes. Do, 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 do. Oh my gosh. Coffee kicked in. Hi everyone, I'm April, and you're watching The Tangled Cat Speaks. It's been a while. I didn't get around to doing a recording at the end of May, and this one was supposed to be done at the end of June, but here it is, June 7th. So, a little late, but that's okay. It is what it is. Let's see, it's been a while. I don't even know where to start. I am from Rio Rancho, New Mexico, which is outside of Albuquerque. I am a knitter, I am a crocheter, and I do some reading. So I talk about those things here on my podcast. Why do I feel so awkward? That's so stupid. It's not like I haven't done 80 plus videos for you guys. I'm drinking my smoothie, excuse me. But let's get started. Let's get started and quit being awkward, April. Quit being awkward. All right, so first thing I'm going to talk about, well, I guess I should talk about what I'm wearing. This is one of my first items of clothing, something that was made to fit, that I did several years ago. I couldn't even tell you how many years, at least 10. It's been modified a couple of times because this was supposed to be a saddle shoulder short tee, but I couldn't figure out the saddle shoulder bit at the time because I wasn't that good at knitting yet. So I didn't do the saddle shoulder. I gave up and I added this little cable-y pattern and made straps, and now I have a tank top. And then I had to go back a couple of times because with knitting, it stretches really well this way, but when it does that, it shrinks from this way. So that's kind of what this did. When I put it on, it was a little bit of negative E, so it stretched it to fit, nice and close to the body, but it yanked up the bottom excuse me, tickle. Yanked up the bottom hem, so a couple of times I went back and added a little bit to the bottom. But I like it. It's comfy. It's just stripes all the way down. And this was Knit Picks stroll yarn. I think this was Forest, this green. I don't remember what this blue is. This was Sapphire Heather, and I don't remember this. And I think this purple was Duchess Heather. So the two lighter colors are the ones I don't remember the names, but it's Knit Picks Stroll. Okay, so let's start with what I've finished, and I've finished a lot in these last couple of months. Now I mentioned before, I break my own rules all the time. I mentioned before that I do a schedule kind of thing on my phone where I have alarms set up every day to tell me which project I want to work on that day, and that way I keep things in rotation and slowly everything gets done. That's what I've been doing for a while now, but this past couple of months I got on a one-track mind and I kind of stayed there. So that all started with, and I think I might have showed you guys the beginnings of this. It was a test knit for Julee Mackessy at naluknits. She's naluknits. It was a test knit for her Reflector shawl, and I got that done. And yes, we know that I don't care for yellow quite as much as some people, but this happens to have a lot of yellow, but it's very subtle and it just looks so gentle against the purple and the green. And this was a very fun kite shaped shawl. It starts at this end with this tiny little stitches, tiny little amount of stitches, and it increases and it does all of these cool little things. There's a little bit of lace here in the green, and then we've got some garter stripes, and I think, yeah, garter stripes, and then we've got a different lace in the yellow, and then more garter and stripes, and I love it so much. You can see how very light and airy it is because you can see right through it. I love it. It is so pretty and just fabulous. And I was just really focused on getting this done, and so you could see all the different colors and patterns. But I was really focused on getting this done for the test knit. I wanted to make sure that I got it done on time, and I believe that it's already released now. So if you want to check out this pattern, you can check out naluknits. I got her pattern on Ravelry. Well, I know it's on Ravelry. I don't know if she has it on any other platforms, but I know it's on Ravelry. It's so pretty. Okay, so what I used was something. I don't remember the name of the yellow yarn. I'll have to put that up. I want to say that it's called Beach Life, the name of the color, but I don't remember the dyer's name. But I'll put it up here. I know I put it in the last time I talked about it, but I don't remember off the top of my head right now. But these other two, this purple and the green, they're both Pandia's Jules, who is sadly not dying anymore. That sounds so weird, dying, not dying. Sadly not dying. Dying color, dying yarn. But these were on her a tweed base with colorful, come on, colorful nips, and that's on both the purple and the green. So you can see some of it there. This was called Moonbeam, and this was called Mint, I believe. I'm not positive. It's been a while, but I don't know why I wrapped it around my arm like that. I love how it came out. I love how it came out. Oh my gosh, this is the worst. This is the worst episode ever. I'm so sorry for those of you who are new. You caught me on a bad day. So I didn't end up finishing all the yarn. I had a little bit of each color left. So what I did next, because I was just like, I want to finish this yarn. I'm almost done. I only have a little bit left, and I just want to get rid of it. Not because I don't like it, but because I love it, and I just didn't want more balls piling. I have so much leftover stash. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to use it all up. So what I did was, actually, I think I used, oh no, I have about 50 grams or approximately of this yellow left. That's going to be something else that I haven't finished up. But I only had small balls of the green and the purple. So you can see all of the nips there. And I chose this peachy orangey color. Sorry, this is a new phone from the last time that I had podcasted, so there we go. Still trying to figure out how it works. But anyway, so I chose this peachy color, and I don't know for sure what yarn this was. I think that I had gotten this off of an experiments page from Breaking Yarn. All her kind of little misfit type things she puts on what she calls an experiments page. And I believe that's where I got this. It doesn't have a name, a color name, because it was just kind of, I don't think it does. I don't remember. I think that's where I got it from, but I couldn't be positive. It's been a while since I've gotten it. But I thought it went really well with the purple and the green. So I did these toe up, and then I decided, I was kind of not sure what I wanted to do, but I just wanted to use up this yarn. So I did the cast on with the purple, and then I did one row striping here, and then from far away I'm like, that's too subtle, I can't really see it, so I went to 2-row striping. I could have gone back and pulled it out and done it all in 2-row striping, but I was not in the mood, so I just kept it, counted how many rows I did it for, and then when I did the change, so that I could do it on the second sock. And then I'll have to put the name of the pattern that I use, because I was just kind of winging it. This was, other than the toe part, the rest of the toe up construction was vanilla sock with gusset, something like that. I'll put it up here, and that, because I love heel flap and gusset, but it's hard to find patterns that do this as a toe up. And I will say that this fits just as well as a top down heel flap and gusset sock, but it does not have all of that picking up stitches along the edges of the flap, and it gets like real fiddly. This doesn't have that. This is, it's pretty cool, because, you know, you increase to where you want it to be, and then you start working straight, and then it has a little, you have to do a little bit of measuring your gauge and a small amount of simple math, and then it tells you when, you know, based on all the measurements and everything, it tells you when to start your increases for the gusset. So you're going normal stitches, and then you start increasing here, and then it tells you when to do the heel turn. And then it tells you how to do the flap, and it gives instructions for both the slip stitch heel and the eye of partridge. It was way less fiddly than doing it top down, where you have to pick up the gusset stitches around the flap, and everything is just so scrunched. This was so easy to do, and I did it on my 9-inch circulars, no problem. Now this pattern, the detailing here was a chart from a pair of different socks. Now, that other pair of socks that I got the chart from was constructed top down, but I didn't try to like redo the chart so that it was the right direction, the same direction. I worked it as is, bottom up, so that means that my stitches are actually upside down. On the other sock that I got it from, they would look like this, which they kind of look like little owls. So, but it's upside down, which is kind of cute, because when I'm looking at the socks from my point of view as I'm wearing them, I get to see the little owl faces. And I'll put the name of the pattern that I got this chart from. It's a real simple, I think it was an 8-row repeat. Very, very simple, because actually there's only 3 rows that you got to really pay attention to, and the rest is stockinette. So it's super, super easy, and it's super cute, and I'm definitely going to do this pattern on something again. So this is kind of an amalgamation of 2 different patterns that I stuck together with adding my own color sequencing, and there you go. I did the Jenny super stretchy bind off, which I don't usually do, and it is a little too loose, but I didn't want to go back and figure it out and then do it different. I just left it. It's fine. It's not so loose that it's uncomfortable. And they're shorty socks, because I didn't have a whole lot of this yarn. So it's not like they're going to be sliding down or anything, even though they're a little bit loose. It's fine. I wasn't going to worry too much about it. If they had been longer socks, I probably would have tried to fix it so that it's not so loose, but they're barely above my ankles, so it's fine. But I love them, and I got a new pair of socks. It's been a while since I finished a new pair of socks for myself, but I still had yarn left. I still had some of the, you know what, and that's a big fat lie, because I did those last. I did 3 projects with this yarn. After the shawl, I had okay. I am the worst storyteller. I do things out of order. So after the shawl, I had a little, somewhere around 50 grams of each color. So what I did was this first, for the socks. So let's backtrack, rewind. Boop, boop. That never happened. So anyways, I held the purple and the green together because they are both, like I say, the colorful nips. I held them together and I crocheted, and there is a pattern for this. I'll have to put it up here. I don't know the names of everything. I got very discombobulated over the past couple of months and I didn't really prepare for this. But I'll put the name of the pattern and the designer up here. It's a cowl that is crocheted in the round. And it's basically like a granny type of stitch, but it's done in the round, so it's basically like a 2-row repeat. And it's long, so you can wear it doubled. And theirs was actually probably double this width, but I wasn't sure how much yarn I was gonna have to be able to make it to another section. So, and I knew I wanted socks, so I just did it like this. And this is nice because it's open and airy, but it's narrow enough, it's not too bunchy, and I can wear this in warmer weather. Say if I'm wearing something like what I got on now, where my neck is exposed and the air conditioner's on inside of a building, and I can throw this on just to keep the back of my neck from freezing. But it's definitely not something that I would wear in the winter just because it's so light, but I love it. It's something that I can, dress up. A plain top. I can even wear just the one long loop, I love it. And I didn't even block this. I probably could, but I don't really want to. It's fine as it is. So that's what I did, and then that's when I ended up with just the little tiny balls left of the purple and green. I think I had a tiny little bit left that ended up in my memory blanket. And then as far as that peachy color, and this wasn't a full skein of this. This was used in another pattern that I ended up deciding to frog, and I know I set that other pattern aside somewhere so that I can frog it. I don't know where it is. I don't know where I put it. So I know I have more of this peachy orange, but I don't know where it is. So I have this. This is going to go in another pair of socks with another yarn that I've had for years. But that's for another time. But I've got them set aside because this orange happens to be a perfect match for an orange in another yarn by a completely different person. So super excited about that. But I'm not going to get to those right away. I love it. I love it. I love it. I do wish that I had gone back and fixed the striping sequence, but it's fine. Here's my toes. So I got that done. And then I said, well, what am I going to work on now? I was working. Sorry, I was working on a shawl, which I finished. So that I thought, well, and I was thinking I was going to go back to my rotation where I'm going to do something different every day. And in the slot for this shawl, the Reflector shawl, I was going to switch that out for a shawl that I had in progress. And I was going to pull it out of my whip closet and add it to the rotation. So I did that. I pulled it out, and that's what you see over here. And I will get that down. Oh, now you're going to be crooked. Hold on. Are you crooked or am I crooked? Everybody's crooked. Hold on. I'm going to grab that. Okay, so this is what I finished. And this is basically another one of those winging it problems. Yes, I've got ends that I didn't put away yet. That's okay, but that's normal. I'm sure you've come to expect that from me. So now this yarn, and I will put up a picture of the yarn because I don't have any of it, of 2 of the colors left. What I did was I went through my stash when I originally decided I was going to do this project months and months and months ago. I had bought, a while back, I bought some yarns that I didn't, at the time I thought, oh, those are cool, but I don't know what I'm going to do with them. So they sat. And then I decided that I didn't like them. You know, you change your mind. At first you like it. After a while you're like, I don't like it so much. So they sat and they sat and they sat and they sat. This one was one of them. And I think I've shown this a few times because this was a huge, giant, I think it was like 120 grams. So I've used this in a pair of socks ages ago. And I had about maybe 80 grams left, so this ended up in this shawl. So there's this. It was a 3 Irish Girls yarn, and this was a long time ago when they had it was called Adorn was the base, and they have now I believe it's a base called Adorn Luxe, or is it Deluxe, which is a little bit more normal fingering weight size. This was just a slightly bit, almost a sport weight at the time, before they changed it. They got a different, I guess a different yarn supplier, I don't know. But the color is called Maureen, and which is, you know, purples. I don't know why I can't get this phone to focus. But it's purples, pinks, and browns. And like I said, I loved it when I got it, and then I didn't love it. So here's the other ones. These are ice yarns, ice brand yarns. This one here is long color runs of different shades of brown, and I'm showing this because this is what I used for the leftovers. And then there's one that has some blues, a little bit of, that's all I had left. But I'm going to show you a picture of all of the yarns as I started the project, while they're still sort of in skein form, so you can see how different they are as far as different from each other. But the blue one and the brown one, they're both long color run type yarns, and they're self-striping, self-patterning kind of yarns to make socks. So what I did was I thought, you can't see it in this thing here, but the blue one also has some reds in it, and I thought, well, and it has like a little bit of like beigey gray. So I thought the beigey gray of that one, and you can even see some of that here, but it's also got like big chunks of it in the blue. You'll see it in the other picture. So I thought that beigey gray would go with this, so that I could hold those two together, and maybe the browns and the blues and the reds will kind of blend and mingle and have a good time. And then this brown goes really well with this brown. So I decided to throw that in there too, to make kind of an Aran weight, maybe a chunky, but I would say, you know, an Aran weight, maybe like a chunky weight yarn. I held all 3 together, and this is what happened. And you can tell that it was long color runs. You can see that there's a little bit of subtle striping going on within all of this marling of the 3 yarns. And I really love how they kind of blended each other out to something more, it's weird because it's busier, but it's also more subtle at the same time. And I love that. So it just looks like a splash, a wild splash of color, and I love it. And what I did was I picked out the pink, and in my stash I found some knit picks. Wool of the Andes, I believe. And this, I think, is called, it's either Blush or I think it's Blush or maybe Blossom. I can't remember. I'll put it up here, but it's Wool of the Andes Knit Picks. And I picked a lace chart from a different pattern. I kind of winged it on this part. This is all just me knowing construction of a top-down triangular shawl using eyelets, and I've got purl rows and then a row of eyelets and then stockinette, and I just kind of kept alternating that all the way down. And I also have a 2-stitch spine. That was really just to break up the monotony, not because I was trying to be fancy or anything. I was just trying to break up the monotony because I didn't want all stockinette. So I decided I was going to throw in some eyelets. But that was just kind of in my brain. I didn't really look up anything on how to do that. I wasn't sure how it was going to come out, but that's what it did. But then I pulled the pink out and this other yarn, and I'll put the pattern here of where I got this chart from. It was a border for, I think it's like a fingering weight shawl, but I just kind of upscaled it. It was a pattern that I have printed, that it's been sitting in a notebook for years, and I was just going through things, trying very hard to not spend money on patterns, trying to use things that I already have, and I decided to go with this. And I love how it came out. Now you can see here there's a different color down at the bottom because I ran out of the pink on the very last row and the bind off of this, because this took 2 skeins of the Wool of the Andes, and just the very last bit I ran out. So I ended up using, it was Knit Picks also, and I don't remember. I don't remember that last color. I will put that up here, but I know it was Knit Picks, and it was a similar pink, similar enough for me to not care. And that's that. And it is huge. It is so big, and it's because it's like an Aran or a chunky weight, but it's, I used a pretty big needle for this. I think I used an 11. I'll have to look up the millimeters, but I used a pretty big needle for this, so it's pretty open, and I have a habit of blocking my shawls to the point of no return. So they end up really light but still cozy. So that's how that came out, and I love it. It's very, very big. But I had some of all 3 yarns. This is all I have left of this. Probably going to be toes in some other pair of socks someday. But I chose to get the brown and the bluey red one and make mittens. I held it with a black mohair from Knit Picks. This is black in the aloft base. And I held it together, and what I did was I started, and again, this was my own kind of recipe. I was just winging it. It's a pair of mittens. I didn't do a thumb gusset, so my thumbs just kind of stick out like a hitchhiker. And what I did was every time a color run changed, I went to the next yarn. So there's browns, and then to the blue one, and then browns, and then to the blue one. And this one I kind of left because it faded into some of that red. And there's burgundies here. And if I didn't tell you that this was 2 yarns alternated, you would think that this was one colorway, because the black really pulls all of it together. And I didn't care. I wasn't even, because I was using leftover yarn, I wasn't even going to try to figure out how to make them identical. I just figured they match in theme. But I love them. I think they could have been a little snugger. It's just a one by one rib. They could have been a little bit snugger, so I probably could have cast on fewer, but like I said, I was winging this and making it up as I go, or as I went, so they're a little bit, I like my gloves to be like snug, but it's not terrible. So I got me some driving mittens, and as you saw, I had a little tiny itty bitty bit left of these. So I decided to just screw around and start here and just keep knitting, increasing in weird places with the one yarn. And then I don't know why I ended up with so much of this as opposed to this when I held everything double the whole time. But that's how that worked out. I ended up with a whole lot of the brown and very little of the bluey red. And I just kept increasing and adding eyelets and yarn overs wherever, and it ended up this weird shape. So I washed it and hung it on my wall and pinned it on. I actually pinned it on the wall. So now I've got a wall decoration that looks kind of weird, but it's in my yarn room, so it goes. So that's what I did. That was my adventures over the last 2 months. Those are the things that I got done. I did start on another project. I was actually doing a different sweater with this yarn, and I ended up not liking the pattern, and I can't remember why I didn't like it, but sorry, my hair is growing out, obviously, and it's very fluffy and it drives me crazy. But here we go. So I ended up pulling out that other sweater and decided to go with this one, and this one is called, I don't know how to pronounce it, Saison. I'll put it up here with the designer's name. So what I'm doing, I think I showed you guys this. This is the Lorna's lace weight yarn. This was my first not big box yarn purchase. And this is this colorway Somerset. So it's greens and pinks and a tiny little hints of blue, like a powder blue. I think I've had this since 2005-ish, so this is one of my older nice yarns, or the oldest nice yarn. I have a few acrylics that I've had for almost 30 years. But I got that and I held it together with this mohair. This is Knit Picks Aloft in the Penny Royal color. I wanted pink, but I didn't have pink at the time. And I knew that this wasn't, from the get-go, I knew that this wasn't going to be enough to completely finish the whole sweater. So I'm holding those two double. It's worked top down, and I'm loving how it looks. Let's see if I can hold it up properly. Now I've already made kind of some modifications, but this is the back, and I love how it looks. And I've got one sleeve to just past my elbow, and the other sleeve, I think I've got about 3 or 4 more rows before it's even with the other one. Now, first modification was I'm putting sleeves. This particular sweater it stops right after the divide. And I think it's just a couple more rows of garter and then bind off. So they're really short. I decided I wanted full length sleeves on this. So I had to figure out my gauge so that I could figure out how many rows it's going to take me to get to my wrist or to where I want it to end, and then to decide how many stitches I'm going to need around by the time I get to that point, so that I could figure out how to do the decreasing along the inside. That's what all these markers are. These are all my decreases. So I had to do a little bit of math for that, and I hope it works out because I've never done that before. Now, my numbers worked out for the sweater. The problem was the places where she had all of these different increases, for the raglan, the placement, there was markers here, there was markers here, and the stitch count between markers was like, the back was fine, but this here, no, the sleeve right here, this area here that gets wider and wider for the sleeve had too many, while the front had too few. So I had to adjust because I didn't want to rip it all out and redo everything, because, you know, ripping out mohair is not fun. So you can see that my raglans don't meet up because I readjusted things at the point of separation. So the back of the sweater, the raglan goes right to the armpit. But the front of the sweater, the raglan, I continued it, and I decided to keep on increasing just to, you know, screw around, see what that does. So I'm still increasing on both sides of this spine thing here. So that's giving it more of a waterfall front. So the back is going to fit normal, but the front is kind of going, the sweater is supposed to end straight at the bottom hem, but mine is going to be kind of like this at the front. This was a V-neck sweater. It is a V-neck sweater. And I checked my gauge, and I'm supposed to get it to where it would button up, but maybe I didn't measure my gauge right, or I don't know if the numbers are wrong in that respect as well. I know they were wrong where the placement of the raglans are wrong. The overall number count, the total number of stitches was correct, just the placement of the raglan was wrong. So that's why I did that modification there. But this is to gauge per pattern, and the top part, it won't button on me. So I decided that this is going to be an opened front cardigan, and it's just going to have that sort of waterfall thing at the bottom. So I'm almost done with like I said, I'm almost done with this sleeve, just a couple more rows, and then I'm going to stop and I'm going to finish the rest of this here as far as it'll take me. And then at that point, from the rest of the sleeve and the rest of the body down, I'm going to be doing 2 mohair white held together. And these are not nitpicks. These ones I got off of Hobby. And it's the Diablo base. It's a little bit different than Oloft because this has acrylic in it. Acrylic and polyamide. The Oloft doesn't. I think it's mohair and something else, but I can't remember. But I got this because why doesn't this focus? Really got to figure out my new phone and its camera. Anyways, it says 40% acrylic, 30% mohair, 30% polyamide. So this is, so it's going to be all white on the bottom half of the sleeves and the bottom half of the body. And we'll see how that works, because I know that Lorna's laces, this is not going to be enough. I have enough of this, but I don't have enough of this. So, but I'm very excited. As far as it being an open front cardigan, everything fits. But it was not meant to be an open front cardigan. It was meant to button up, and it just, I don't know if I measured my gauge wrong, or the numbers on the pattern were wrong for that as well. But it's okay. I'm still going with it, and I like it, and I'm going to enjoy the heck out of it. So that's really what I'm working on now, and I'm still in that one-track mindset kind of thing where I just want to finish that, and then I'll maybe get back to my to my rotation thing that I've been doing. And I have read a lot of books, and I'm not going to talk about a lot of them because most of them were audiobooks, and I did a ton. Let's see, I'll tell you, I'm up to book 7 in the Dark Tower series now. I finished the Rhaenyra Chronicles by Michael J. Sullivan. I finished those 6 books. I think I'm on the 4th or 5th book of the Vorkosigan saga by Lois Bujold. She's got 3 names. I think it's Lois McMaster Bujold. But anyway, I'm about a third of the way through that series, and but the one that's been taking up my time the most is this one, The Count of Monte Cristo. That's a big guy, and I'm only there. But because I am the kind of person that, because I'm reading it as a read along and I needed to get it done in a certain amount of time, I planned from the get-go to do 2 chapters a day. That didn't happen, but I'm still torturing myself because this marker here is telling me that's where I should be if I was on schedule. So I'm about 200 pages behind where I should be. But, you know, that's just there to mentally mess with me. I'm really not trying to catch up. So that's what's taking up my time now, but I will have that done by the end of the month. We still haven't decided on what our, gosh, I'm crooked again. My new phone and my stand are not playing well. So let's see, we haven't decided on what the new choice of classic book is coming up. So we're waiting on that, so I'm not sure. I'm hoping, I've been wanting to read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I hope that's what we pick. And I hope that, because it's all done by poll. But I know some people are choosing other books, and some of them are so long. And I'm like, we just did War and Peace recently, and now we're doing this, and we're already planning on doing Les Miserables in November. I'm like, can we have some short ones in between, please? We'll see. And I just found out, fun fact, that the reason why a lot of these older books are so big and so wordy is because a lot of them were written in magazines, and they got paid per word. The authors got paid per word, so they just worded everything. They just threw words at everything. So, and it's, even though saying that this is wordy, this is actually this particular translation was done by Robin Buss. And I had heard that this was, I don't know why I'm showing you, I can't focus on anything, or my phone can't focus on anything. But I heard that the Robin Buss translation was the best. So that's why I got this one. And I gotta say that this is very easy to read, even though it's a lot, it goes by. When I do actually take the time to sit down and read, I am lost in it, and I love it, and I'm just having so much fun. So much fun. And definitely a whole lot missing from the movie, even though I adore that movie with is it Jim Caviezel? Good movie. And that's what made me want to read this book ages and ages ago. So I'm so glad I finally got to it. Last but not least, I do actually have a couple of acquisitions, which is very rare for me. And I'm going to tell you about those right now. I thought I had it. Oh yeah. So the first thing, and I've actually had these for a little while. These are, actually I don't remember if I showed you these ones. If I did, I'm sorry. But I love her, so I'm going to say it anyway. Breaking Yarn. And this is her pink teddy bear colorway. And this is the quarter round fingering weight, which is 4,000 438 yards per 100 gram skein of superwash merino wool. And this is one of her standard breaking yarn colorways that is based on the Breaking Bad TV show. Super cute. Now this one is also by her, but this is one of those one-of-a-kinds that she had on her experiments page, and I love it. It's super cute, and I am actually going to pair these together in something. I don't know what yet, but they're going to be something together someday. Very fun. So I got those, and then I haven't gotten anything from her in ages, and I loved this because I love greens, and I really thought this would be really cute as part of a, like another tank top kind of thing. But these are DK weight. These are from Chemnitz. Rebecca from Chemnitz. She's on YouTube. She does a lot of how to dye yarn videos, and then she sells a lot, or most of the yarns that she dyes on her show. And there were these three that she dyed all at the same time, and I absolutely adore the different shades of blues and greens in this. It leans more heavily green, but there are some subtle hints of a bluey gray, or a gray blue, however you want to say it. And I absolutely love this, and I wish that that she had dyed more of these, but you know, it was part of the show, and she didn't. She was only doing the three, so I snagged them up, and these are going to be something. Even if I got to do kind of like what I'm doing with this other cardigan and have like the top half one color and the bottom half another color, I'm cool with that. But oh, I love it so much. And because I was feeling lots of feels recently with nothing important, it's okay, it's okay. But you know, lots of things going on recently in the world, especially here in the US. Anyway, lots of feels. Mostly not good ones, but sorry for the crinkling. But I got 5 skeins of a new colorway. 5 skeins of a new colorway from Toad Hollow. This is called Atlantis Into the Deep. Seriously, phone, you are not playing nice. How does this even focus? Into the deep. Anyways, look at this color. Look at it. It is so bright. I got 5 skeins of this, and these are all, God, they still smell freshly washed. These are going to be a top. I am going to wear the brightest top ever this winter. I love it. I love it. I love it. I don't know what top it's going to be, but it's going to be. And super excited. That, my friends, is really all that I've got right now. Yeah, I haven't worked on anything else except these things. I've been totally just focused getting into this book. Super excited. So hopefully it won't be another 2-month-long wait before I do my next episode, but I make no promises because, you know, life and stuff. So super happy to spend time with you guys. I'm super happy for everyone who showed up. Please like my video if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't. And I will be back with more stuff, and hopefully next time, like I say, it'll be sooner so that there'll be more on the book side of things, because I do like talking about the books that I'm reading. I hope you have a wonderful summer, And I hope to see you again next time. Bye.